What's good, you guys? This is RTL YTSGaming back again with another video. Today we got the NFL is why Madden 24 is make or break. Let's check it out.
It's been reported by reliable sources that Madden 24 is a make or break game for EA, so much that they're even threatening changing leadership, which means firing people if the game does not deliver. But what makes Madden 24 any more make or break than the previous games? What is the real reason that EA has this mindset going into Madden 24, and what can we expect not only from Madden 24, but from football gaming in the near future? We're going to break all that down in today's video. And in terms of Madden 24, we should be getting a lot more leaks and news about that game coming very soon, so if you don't want to miss out on any of those important videos, make sure you subscribe with the bell icon on so you don't miss out when those videos go live. Now, about a week ago, we got some leaked news from a very reliable source by the name of Mike Straw, who said that internally, the attitude around Madden 24 is that it is a make or break game for the franchise and the future of the leadership positions there. Now, what do those leadership positions mean? That we're not 100% sure. It could be creative directors, it could be developers, it could even maybe be a little higher up than that. It could be executives. But the fact of the matter is, with Madden 23 having so many bugs and with the franchise mode issues that caused a lot of people to lose their leagues, EA knows that Madden 24 is a time where they have to deliver more than they have in the recent years. Now, upon hearing this leaked news, a lot of people had the same reaction. It sounds like a marketing ploy. It sounds like stuff EA says every year to kind of keep people buying the game. However, this isn't an official EA statement. They did not release this via IGN or any of the big gaming networks. It's a leak that came from inside the building to a guy who has been known to leak stuff about Madden for years now. But the other reaction people had to this was that until the NFL says something, until the NFL either takes the license or threatens to take the license or makes a statement, that nothing matters. But I think what a lot of people are missing.
I don't mean to cut him off real quick. I think the problem with Madden is the fact that they don't have any competition. We don't have NFL 2K. Hell, we don't even have NCAA. And the fact that they're the only IP that's making NFL licensed football games, they probably have the mindset of, we can do what we want, they're going to buy it anyway, which, let's be real, it's been true for the past decade. No matter how shit this game has been, people complain, but the same people buy the game. I'm always a believer in, if you want change, don't buy the game. And I took a stand for my own personal pockets for not paying for Madden for 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Just to see if anything changed. Then I bought it 2 years later just to see, okay, did they do anything different? And it's practically, I got a 2-year roster update. So, I don't know. Hopefully this make or break thing is actually real and Madden 24 is actually something different. But before I continue the video, I would like to say too, also, since the next gen has came out and everything, I want to know y'all opinions on this as well. I don't think we even have a true next gen Madden. Yeah, they updated the UI and stuff like that, gave us new mechanics, but let's be real, it's not really a true next gen update. And I feel like, honestly, I feel like this like any game in general. I don't know for a fact that if Madden is working on something like this, but I feel like if you're working strictly on one specific like what's the word, system, works straight up next gen, Madden 24 just be a straight up next gen game, I think we might get a better game because they won't have to worry about making an old gen game as well. But it still won't help certain problems like gameplay mechanics, like lags, bullshit, when you running, then you running through your man, and it's just so much going on in that game. But let's continue the video though.
here is that the reason Madden 24 is a make or break game is exactly because of the NFL. They're clearly not happy, but the NFL is not going to come out and say that. They would never come out and say we're not happy with EA Sports or we're not happy with the direction of Madden. They would never do that. And in the years past, they have been actually pretty happy with how Madden has been delivered and received. But the last few years, there's been a lot more backlash for one reason or another. And this year, with the franchise mode issues and people losing their leagues, it just got to a point where the NFL is probably not very happy with what's going on, and that's why all of a sudden this game is make or break. Because if you look at the past few releases and some of the bugs and some of the issues we have had to deal with, why would 24 now be the game that's make or break versus 23 or versus 22? Doesn't really make much sense. What does make sense is the NFL finally stepping in and saying, hey, you got to turn this around because we can't keep having these issues and we can't keep having this backlash around the game. The NFL wants people to like the product that's out there. Because when has EA ever threatened jobs and leadership changes over the next game? They've never done that. And though they haven't come out and publicly said it, the leak is from reliable sources and there's no reason to believe that it's not true. But
Right.
EA likely isn't going to come out and make this statement themselves because it just kind of sounds bad if they come out and say it. And the NFL isn't going to come out and say it either because that's not something that they would tell us. They would go directly to EA and do that internally, which
They're not going to say it because they know it's going to mess up their money. And they're not going to mess up their money. As long as they stay quiet about it, people are going to continue to buy. But people need to take these leaks for what it is.
they likely have. And it's been rumored over the last year or so that the NFL hasn't been as happy with the product. Now, that doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to strip the license away from EA or that they're going to terminate the contract or whatever, but what it does likely mean is that they're putting some pressure on EA, which then will make the people up top at EA, the executives, put more resources into the game to ensure that the game comes out in a better state. Because for years now, the game has just been raking in so much money that they can allow things to fall by the wayside, and it hasn't really affected their sales. But if the
And let's be real, all that money's coming from Ultimate Team. They finessing us from Ultimate Team. I stopped putting my money in that shit 2 years ago. But the money's coming from Ultimate Team. And I honestly feel like people just gotta understand from EA point of view is like what we've been getting the past couple years since Ultimate Team been out anyway. They got them a cash cow, which is Ultimate Team. We pay for the packs, we pay for the cars, pay for the I forgot what shit, the Madden points. So if anybody don't buy the game, that it's not even a small, it's like a small majority of people that don't buy the game. Boom, they still get their money back from the Ultimate Team. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad if this is true. NFL or EA, whatever case it may be, is putting their foot down a little bit, especially with franchise. Cause I'm for one, I enjoy playing franchise with my friends, and one of my friends' leagues did just wipe from the face of the earth, which is crazy. So I'm glad they are trying to do something with that. I heard that some people actually got like a 50% off discount for Madden 24. I don't know if that's true or not. If that is true, let me know in the comment section. Let's get back into the video.
NFL is going to step in and apply that pressure, that definitely changes some things. And it's the only way I would see EA having this mentality because, again, while the franchise mode issues this year were pretty bad, I don't even think the backlash was as bad this year as it was in Madden 21 when it was revealed that they had nothing planned for franchise mode. That backlash was much louder. The NFL Drop EA hashtag that came after that was loud as well, much louder than the complaints this year when people lost their franchise modes. And I think the reason it was a little bit louder a couple years ago is it was right when the game was launching versus after this game had been out for many months. So I think you had more people's attention. There was more engagement around the game as a whole. So that's why you saw more backlash. And even after that, they never had this attitude of the game being make or break. They did start to finally put more time in the franchise mode, which was good. They added things back in Madden 22. They did some things in Madden 23 as well, more than they had done in previous years. So they did take action on it, but they didn't threaten jobs and they didn't have this make or break mentality. So the only reason I see them having that is if the rumors have been true over the last year or so that the NFL has grown a little less happy with the product. Now, the other interesting thing to think about as well is that it's also been rumored over the last year by a couple of people that that I feel are very trustworthy, that supposedly EA Sports does not want to renew the exclusive NFL license. Now that we have no way of knowing is true. They do want the NFL license, I would assume, but the exclusivity and the price tag that comes with it, it's been rumored that EA feels that they're in a position where they don't need the exclusivity anymore, that they're kind of too big to fail at this point. And in videos months ago, I brought this up when we talked.
Wait. They think they're too big to fail? Is that what he said?
Exclusive NFL license. Now that we have no way of knowing is true. They do want the NFL license, I would assume, but the exclusivity and the price tag that comes with it, it's been rumored that EA feels that they're in a position where they don't need the exclusivity anymore, that they're kind of too big to fail at this point. And it
Yeah, man, we need another company to humble these fools. That is crazy. We need NFL 2K, which I heard was in development, but nothing came of. Shit, we need NCAA, which I'm pretty sure is going to be made by EA, but shit. We just need different football games at this point, because they don't think, man, I don't know. That's why I'm really happy that Maximum Football is coming out. I get that it's not like a NFL, or hell, not even an XFL game, but the fact that it's so much you can do with that game, I'm really excited for that game. Because Madden 24, me personally, I'm going to play it, but I'm not going to buy it. It always comes on Game Pass eventually, you know what I'm saying? But, on a different note though, speaking of the XFL, I wonder if The Rock or whoever's like control that gonna make like an XFL game. I would personally play that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about you guys.
In videos months ago, I brought this up when we talked about them walking away from the FIFA license as well. This being the last year, I believe that they're going to have the FIFA name on their game. They're going to change the name next year. And while the FIFA license and the NFL license are two very different things, because with FIFA, if you remove the FIFA license for the soccer game, you can still have all the players, you could still have all the clubs and stuff like that. You lose some of that FIFA branding, but it doesn't really affect the game too much as a whole. Whereas with the NFL, if you lose the NFL license, you pretty much lose everything. You don't have real teams, you don't have real players unless you do a direct deal with the NFLPA, but I don't really see a situation where if you don't have the NFL branding, I don't think the NFLPA is going to really work with you one-on-one like that. So if they lose the NFL license, they don't really have a game anymore. However, if they lose the exclusivity, they still have a game, and they're still in a position where it's going to be hard for somebody to knock them off no matter how bad you feel the game has gotten. And the reason for that is because, number one, in order for another big studio to put a game out, it's going to take years for that to actually come to fruition. Look, 2K is back in the market to make an NFL arcade game, and if that finally does come out at the end of this year, which it's supposed to, they'll have been working on that for about 3 years, and that's just an arcade game. That's not a simulation game that will require much more work and much more resources to make that a really good product. An arcade game, much easier to develop than a simulation game, and it's taken them 3 years just to do that, and we still have not heard much news about it. Now, you do have Maximum Football coming up, which looks interesting after it was bought by Modest Games. That game does look like in a few years it could be a pretty good game. It looks like it could be even good this year. We have to see when it comes out. It's definitely taken a lot of steps forward. So that's another game that you could potentially see maybe going after an NFL license if they're successful in a couple years, if the exclusivity is removed. But I think in order for that game to truly compete with Madden, they would have to get bought out by a bigger company such as a Sony or a 2K to really help in terms of money and resources. But that is another option that could potentially be on the market quicker because they already have a base game developed. But another thing you have to consider is, will another company even want to make a simulation NFL game? That might not be the case because it costs so much money to make these games these days, and the NFL licensing is so expensive that there's a chance another company just does not want to invest that money to go head-to-head with Madden. Even if you feel that they could take Madden out, that is still a very long process. It takes years to get a game to market. It takes tons and tons and tons of money, and then you still got to compete with a brand that's been around for over 30 years. And no matter how bad you feel Madden has got, it still has a lot of loyal fans, especially in the Ultimate Team department. Yes, they would lose some fans. Yes, there would be a lot of people that would play both. And yes, there would be a lot of people who haven't touched Madden in a long time that would jump to the other game. But Madden would still have a lot of customers. It wouldn't just fall off the planet like NBA Live. NBA Live and 2K were going head to head for a while, and 2K was slowly taking over. But at a certain point, NBA Live wanted to do a total rebrand and kind of...
Yeah, who remembers NBA Live when NBA Live was at its peak and when it was literally the goated basketball game for NBA? The good old days, man.
develop a new IP. The demo did not hit well with NBA Elite 11. They went away for some years, and once you go away, it's game over. You can't really come back. It's hard. With Madden and 2K and Sony and these other companies, yes, a new NFL simulation game coming back after all these years would be big just because we simply haven't had one. But Madden does not look like it's going to take years off or it's going to go away for a little while like an NBA Live did, and that's
the thing. This is one thing I always wished would happen. Not even just with Madden, every sports game. I feel like sports games should be bi-yearly. And before people jump in the comments and be like, oh, people get traded, people get drafted, people enter the league, that's all understandable. That's nothing that a simple roster update cannot fix. And speaking of Madden, Madden has proved that it be rookies in the game with like generic faces. By the end of the year, they got their full face scan in the game. You can easily just add players. You know what I'm saying? Just like we're on basketball. 2K is very good at updating shit. Well, certain people, I would say that. But they're good at it. Hell, they adding a Little Dirk into the game. And fucking Lil Wayne. You telling me they can't add 5-star recruit fucking Victor Wamba Boomba, whatever his name is. Like, come on, man. They can do that. And it's like, every 2 years, you give, like, enough time for not only the game to mature, you can have more time to work and add new features into the game than by saving, it's like, what year? I'm talking what year is this? 2023. So, 2025, next game come out. Clearly a big jump. Graphics, whatever. The graphics probably get clearly better. The gameplay clearly better. Different game modes that they actually took time to work on. Because it'd be less time just doing the same BS, you know what I'm saying? Even if people like retire, like Tom Brady retired, right? Like, it takes no effort for them to just remove him. It really doesn't. And for people to be like, oh, why are you removing him? They can just throw him into free agency and you can just keep him. It don't matter. But in the new Madden 20, save it for like this, right? This Madden 24. Madden 26, he obviously won't be in the game unless, which I believe Madden should bring back, retro teams. I don't know why they ever took out retro teams, but that's just me. But I feel like every sports game should just bi-yearly. It's sports. It's make or break. People get traded mid-season. Y'all fix that. So it's like, it takes no effort for them to add in the new people. Add in the people that got on new teams and keep the game flowing. There's there's games that's literally doing this. Not even bi-yearly. They make one game. Like, look at Fortnite. They constantly update their game. You telling me a sports game can't do that? Just saying.
Truly allowed 2K to completely take over, because once you go away for a couple of years and you try to come back, everybody's already on 2K and people don't want to jump back to the other side. Now with Madden, you have to factor in there's so many people that play the game. There's so many people that only know Madden. That's where their friends play. That's where all of the player base is. So even if you lose some of that to a new game, for the first few years, the Madden player base would still dominate. It would probably still have bigger numbers, which means that's where people would stay and play. Just like when NBA Live tried to come back years later and they actually had some decent games a few years ago, people didn't really want to jump over there and play, because even if they were doing some things really well, everybody they knew was playing on 2K, so they just stayed over there even though they were complaining about how bad 2K was. The same thing would likely happen with Madden, and I think EA knows that. So if the rumors are true that they don't want exclusivity anymore, it's because they feel with microtransactions plus the player base that they have established over all these years, they feel like they would retain enough of their player base to still make a bunch of money, but they wouldn't have to pay this massive amount of money for an NFL exclusive license. So in the end, they would probably be making out better money-wise, and that's likely, if the rumors are true, why they don't want exclusivity anymore. And another thing to consider with EA is they also have an NCAA game finally coming back next year, so they have a whole nother market to make a ton of money on. So that's probably even more of a reason why they feel like they might not need an exclusive NFL license anymore, because now they're gonna have a whole nother cash cow of a game to rake in money from. So as long as they have both of these games still in the market, there's gonna be enough players player base for both of those games, and for them to still make money without having to have the only exclusive NFL game. So that's something else you have to factor in. And I know a lot of people think that some of these companies would just jump to make a simulation game, and maybe 2K would. Obviously, there's some interest if they're making an arcade game, but again, it's going to be a lot less expensive to produce arcade games versus a simulation game. And when you think of the money they're already putting into the NBA license, every few years they've got to pay like $1 billion for that, and then they've got their WWE game. They've already got a lot of money tied up in their big sports franchises, so for them to tie up even more money into an NFL sim, that just might not be something they want to do. Maybe, but there's no guarantee that they would actually want to do that. You have to look at
They need to, because that golf game is not it. I'm sorry.
The sports gaming landscape, there's not a lot of room for competition anymore like there was back on the PS2 days, because games are a lot cheaper to make. If you look at 2K, they had an NCAA game that went away very, very early, way before EA's NCAA game went away. They had an MLB game, that went away. They had an NHL game, that went away, because there just wasn't enough money in it when you're paying for the licensing, and you're paying to develop these games, and you're still having to go head to head with a Sony or EA, who also has a big game with a lot of a player base. You saw the same thing happen with EA's NBA Live. They went away, they kept trying to come back, they couldn't really chip away at 2K enough, there wasn't enough money in it, so now they've just gone away and they haven't done anything since. So with 2K dominating wrestling and basketball, and with EA currently dominating football and Sony dominating baseball, you're in a situation where some of these companies just might not want to invest in a new sim product, and I think EA knows that. And again, even if one of these companies did, it would take them a long time to get that product to market, and then you have to really chip away at an established fan base with Madden. Again, I understand that Madden has had its issues over the years, but you got to account for the millions of casual gamers that all they know is Madden. That's where their friends play. That's what they're familiar with. People like what they know, and it's hard to pull them away from that into something else. Those of us that are more hardcore gamers or diehards or played the older games back in the day, yes, they would get our business. Yes, we would either play both games or some of us would jump to the other side. But the people that EA is probably the most interesting in marketing to, which is the younger audience, because usually for games rated E, that's kind of where they're more focused on, are the younger crowd. Yeah. A lot of those people are going to stay where their
shit started lagging.
Friends are. They're going to stay with what they know, and they're not just going to immediately jump to the other side. So as long as EA has a big enough piece of the pie without having to pay that exclusive fee, they're probably going to make out better money-wise, and then it opens up the possibility of competition or maybe some low-budget NFL games coming out. However, there being a guarantee of having a big AAA NFL simulation game just isn't guaranteed, and there's no telling if it would happen or not. So when you factor all these things in, I think what we're seeing is we're seeing EA get to a point where they know they have to at least please the NFL, because they don't want to lose the license completely. They want to still have an NFL license. They might not want it to be exclusive in a few years, but they definitely still want to make the NFL game because it is a cash cow for them. So they have to at least get the NFL into a place where they're happy, but also you could see a time in a few years where there is the opportunity for competition to possibly come, but we just have to kind of wait and see how it plays out. In terms of Madden 24, do I think they can fix all the problems in 1 year? Not necessarily, but if they can clean up the bugs, that would be a big step, because Madden 23 was not that bad of a game if it didn't have the crazy bugs. If people weren't losing leagues and constantly getting kicked out or having things reset, it wasn't a bad game. It actually was truly one of the few games that they have made recently that was a step in the right direction. It was actually true for Madden 23 if it did not have the bugs. So if you go into Madden 24 and it doesn't have bugs and they add some new stuff to the game, it could be a good game, but in order to please everybody that's not happy with Madden, I think that's going to take more than 1 year, and I've been saying that for years and we're still not to that point yet. But the offline just still needs more work. Franchise needs a creative team. They need some more stuff put back in it. The career mode just needs a complete revamping, because Face of the franchise, quite frankly, just has not been working. So they have to please the offline crowd. I think the online crowd is happy enough, but the offline crowd is what you have to kind of appeal to right now in order to make them happy, and that goes along with not just cleaning up bugs, but actually adding some new stuff to the game to give it more life. Now, if you want to know more about the upcoming NCAA game,
this video has some great insight in it. Let me know what you guys think, because I'm down to have a discussion in the comments. Other than that, if you enjoyed this video and actually, you know what I mean, fuck with the content, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you on the next one.